to things that I have been collecting recently. So I've started a new project, I guess you would say. Kind of inspired by another guy that I know that actually lives not too far from me, literally just kind of down the street from me, here in Little Rock. He has a really extensive collection of 1933 signed Gaudi baseball cards. Obviously, he doesn't have the complete set, but he's got, according to him and according to the PSA registry, under his name, he has the most complete set of 1933 Gaudi autographed cards from that set. So that sort of inspired me to start doing a collection of probably, in my opinion, still the best basketball vintage set that exists, which would be the 1961-1962 Fleer set. I think if you ask most basketball card fans, and I'm a big believer in this opinion, that this set probably is the best set in basketball card history. Just the fact that you've got this really amazing look to the set, and I'll go ahead and show off what the cards basically look like. So the look of these cards were really fantastic. The fact that, once again, because you didn't have very many produced sets in the 1950s and 1960s, you only had the 1957 top set. Then you had like a 4 or 5 year hiatus before the 1961-1962 Fleer set came along. And so 61-62 had a lot of, rookie cards from players during that time period that hadn't had rookie cards yet, including Will Chamberlain, of course, Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Elgin Baylor, Lenny Wilkens, Sam Jones, just a ton of Hall of Famers and a ton of guys that are on the 75 NBA greatest players list. Their rookie cards are in that set. And the set, in general, is not a huge set. Fleer was still a pretty small company back then, especially in comparison to Topps. Topps did really large sets back then. Fleer just wasn't able to produce a large set, of like 200 plus cards or whatever. They only did basically a 66 card set, and 44 of those were just regular base cards, and then the other 20 or so were in action shots, a lot of the same players, of like actual images from them playing on the actual court. So only like 44 players were in this set in total, basically, because that's all they could really kind of afford to produce. And so you really only had like the cream of the crop players from that era. A lot of Hall of Famers that were playing still in 1961. So a lot of those are Hall of Fame cards, future Hall of Famers in this set. Just not very many, just sort of, sort of basically bad players or anything like that, or retrend players that other sets started doing when they started mass producing these a lot more in the 80s and 90s and whatnot. So for the combination of those two things, I thought that would be really interesting to try and start collecting as many of these autographed 61 Fleer cards as I possibly could get my hands on. There's a very good chance that I'm not going to be able to get my hands on all of them. There are quite a few players in this set that didn't sign very many cards. Many of them have passed away. There's a really, really famous player in this set named Phil Jordan, who was actually the first Native American player that played in the NBA, but he only lived until 1966. And so there's literally only like one known copy of his 1961 Fleer that he happened to autograph before he passed away. And there's like 4 or 5 of them that I can tell from this set that only has like maybe 1 or 2 known autographed versions of their cards. And there is already a collector out there that I believe has collected most of them. And then you have like the Will Chamberlain card. Obviously, Will Chamberlain passed away in 1999. He did sign a few of these, but not very many. I think there are like 4 or 5 known copies of his 61 Fleer rookie that he autographed before he passed away. And obviously, since you're already talking about Will Chamberlain rookie card and one that he autographed that's very, very rare to find, those cards come at a really high premium price point that I don't know if I'll possibly ever be able to purchase one of those or even have the opportunity to. So there's the possibility that I may not be able to obviously get my hands on all of these, but I'll certainly try and get as many as I possibly can and kind of see how it goes. And I just think this would be a really fun and interesting project to add to my collection. So you already saw this one. This is the Cliff Hagan copy, autographed. The inscribed Hall of Famer. He was inducted in the Hall of Fame 1978. And this is card number 18 in the set. So then I have the Bailey Howe. He's in the Hall of Fame as well, as you can see, inducted in 1997. Bailey Howe was also a member of the Boston Celtics for a few years. I think he won several championships in the mid to late 60s, some of those dynasty Celtics teams. And I have this gentleman, Mr. Don O. As you can see, he was a 5-time All-Star that he inscribed and member of the Detroit Pistons. Card number 33. And then I also picked up this Gene Shoe. See there, card number 41. So these are the first 4 autograph cards from that set that I've picked up so far. And like I said, I am going to try and get my hands on as many of these as possible, I suppose, and see how it goes. You know, and of course, patience is a virtue when it comes to collecting autographed sets, especially autographed vintage sets that are this old. You have to have a lot of patience, and you just have to kind of, you know, just determine, just know, you know what you're going into, doing research on which one of these players were really good in terms of signing their cards, which ones weren't, which ones are rare due to circumstances such as untimely death and things of that nature. And you just got to know what you're getting into, and you just have to try and be a little patient and be ready to get some that are really rare when the opportunity comes up. So anyways, so that's what I just wanted to show you guys today. Thank you so much. Bye.